Jephthah. Jephthah is an example of a judge who, although acting as a guardian of his people on behalf of God, does so in a way that undermines his role as God's delegate. He treats the false god Chemosh, who Jephthah mistakenly identifies as a god of the Ammonites, as, writes Miller, I quote, a legitimate God, doing things for his people, just as Yahweh does things for the Israelite people. Judges 11:24. By approaching the true God in this distorted manner, Jephthah presents, continues Miller, I quote, a false version of the true faith, the wrong worship of the right God. Another way that Jephthah undermines his role as delegate includes the horrific killing of many, including 42,000 Israelites of the tribe of Ephraim, Judges 12:6. Prior to this intertribal slaughter, Jephthah angrily accused the Ephraimites, and I quote, I and my people had a great feud with the Ammonites, and when I called you, you did not deliver me from their hand. Judges 12:2. Before fighting with his brother tribe, the Ephraimites, Jephthah fought the Ammonites, the enemy of Israel, collectively understood. Jephthah did so by first promising that if he is successful in battle, then he will sacrifice to God the first person as whom he meets upon returning home as a burnt offering. Judges 11:31. With this vow, comments Miller, Jephthah, and I quote, tries to serve Yahweh the way one would serve other gods. As a Moabite king offers his own child to Chemosh, the very God Jephthah equates with Yahweh. The first person who greeted Jephthah was his daughter, along with other women who came out to greet him with timbrels and with dances, Judges 11:34. This is not surprising since, explains Irene Noel, women typically honored victorious warriors with a dance. An early example that Noel cites is Moses' sister Miriam, who celebrated the Israelite defeat of the Egyptians by leading all the women with timbrels and dancing. Some scholars think it is possible that Jephthah's daughter may have not been literally offered to God in flames, since it is possible to interpret the passage as implying that the sacrifice of virginity is of similar value to a burnt offering. In addition, these scholars add that Judges only describes the daughter as mourning, being a virgin, and not for being condemned to death. However, it is also reasonable to hold that she mourns her virginity because she will be offered up as a burnt offering with no prospect of marrying before being burnt. Ambrose compares Jephthah's commitment to keep his vow to sacrifice the first person who greets him, even if this person is his daughter, with King Herod's commitment to give Herodias anything she wanted, even half of my kingdom. Mark 6:23. When Herodias asked for John the Baptist's head, like Jephthah, Herod does not break his oath, but orders the beheading of John, and the head is given. Beheading of John, and the head is given to Herod. According to Ambrose, it is also sometimes contrary to duty to fulfill a promise or to keep an oath, as was the case with Herod, who swore that whatever was asked he would give to his daughter Herodias, and so allowed the death of John, that he might not break his word. And what shall I say of Jephthah, who offered up his daughter in sacrifice? Although Jephthah and King Herod both represent distorted ways of keeping one's words by following through on promises, their example should not lessen the importance of being true to one's words by fulfilling one's promises. Provided that the promises made are essentially good, the intention is properly ordered to God, and the circumstances are appropriate, keeping one's word, making good one's promises, is an essential teaching early on in the Old Testament, as evident in Moses' word to the Israelites. This is what the Lord has commanded. When a man vows a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do all according to all the proceeds out of his mouth. Numbers 30:1-2. Similarly, Deuteronomy teaches, You shall be careful to perform what has passed your lips, for you have voluntarily vowed to the Lord your God what you have promised with your mouth. Deuteronomy 23:23. Echoing this teaching on our obligation to be like God, who is true to his word, the incarnate word of God, Jesus Christ, taught, let what you say be simply yes or no. Matthew 5:37. This principle applies whether or not one has made a formal oath or not, for God is true to his word at all times. Since God fulfills what he says, we also ought to be doers of the word. James 1:22.